Prominent figures in social media have changed the direction of firearm culture. And nowadays, more and more people are buying not only firearms, but the gear that goes along with it. Gear that 10 years ago would have been considered only necessary for maybe LE or military. And I gotta say, I could not be happier about that. But with that comes a heavy price tag. So in this video series, we're gonna be talking about gear that is both affordable and reliable. What's going on, guys? My name is Alex from Iron Infidel. If you are ever in the market for any fitness products, or you like some of the shirts you see me wearing in some of these videos, head over to our website, ironinfidel.com, and just browse around for a little bit. Check it out. All right, so getting into the tactical world can be very, very expensive. And if you get all your information from the comment section of social media, it's going to lead you to believe that you need to buy the most expensive Gucci gear to have an adequate build. And I'm here to tell you, if you go that route, it could potentially delay your training and development by up to months, especially if you plan on buying things like plates, plate carriers, obviously a white light, slings. All those things add up to potentially tens of thousands of dollars. So it's very, very important that you understand what are some affordable options that are also reliable when you're buying your gear. So most people agree that a rifle needs a white light, an optic, and a sling. But for today's video, we're just going to be focusing on my favorite affordable optic, which is the Aimpoint Pro. Before we get into it, I know people are going to ask what type of rifles I have here, so I'm going to show you really quickly what I've got. I have a BCM 12.5 inch upper with a Unity mount. This is a 2.26 with an Aimpoint T2 Micro. This is what you see me using in most of my content. But before that, I had the Aimpoint Pro and actually have a 16 inch brand new upper from BCM. This is M-LOK. I haven't thrown anything else on it. I just put the Pro on here for the purposes of this video. Eventually I'm going to throw an LPVO on there, but you can see the Pro that I have, this thing is beat. It's painted, scratched up. It looks like it's been through hell, and that's because it has. I used this thing for 6 years for patrol, SWAT, range all the time, and it never failed me once. The reason I switched from the Aimpoint Pro to the T2 Micro is actually less about the optic and more about the mount. I get asked all the time what mount I'm using and why it's so tall. This is a Unity mount, 2.26. The reason I like a little bit taller is because it allows me to maintain a more natural upright shooting position, but also for a couple more reasons. Unity makes a magnifier mount that drops down just in line with the red dot, which I'm going to be picking up here soon, and it clears up some of that rail space compared to the Aimpoint Pro. And the other reasons are you can obtain a cheek weld easier and still pick up your red dot with a gas mask, and also pick up your red dot when you're using nods. Is that necessary for most people? No, probably not. Don't judge the Aimpoint Pro by what you see right here. Mine is beat. If you buy it, it's going to be nice, new, clean, black, not look as horrible as this. You can get it for about $450, which is what I consider affordable for an optic. And there are some other optics on the market that are around that range. There's the MRO, there's some EOTech variants. But I always come back to the Aimpoint Pro, and this is what I recommend because the thing is an absolute tank. It's indestructible. But what I'm not going to do is spend 10 minutes burning through all the specs of something you can just go do a Google search and find all you need to know about it. I want to talk to you about why it is maybe a better option for you to buy something like this as opposed to something that's more expensive like the T2. This does have an aluminum anodized housing that is damn near indestructible. It has a clear, crisp 2 MOA dot, and it's got settings that you can crank this all the way up and see it crystal clear in the bright California sun, and it also reduces down to night vision mode. So they market the battery as 3 years life continuous, and I'm skeptical of that. I would say 6 months to a year, switch out the battery just to be on the safe side, but that's really not that bad. 6 months to a year switching out the battery for an optic that's $450, I'll take that. That's not too much of a chore. So to take it on and off, you have a quick release knob that's super easy. You just put it on any type of Picatinny rail, twist the knob, you get 3 clicks, and you know it's on. Same thing for removing, very, very easy. You just have to re-zero, obviously, every time. I've got a spacer on it so you can adjust the height of the optic. Aimpoint Pro, it's not quite a absolute co-witness, but it's also not a lower 1/3. It's kind of weird. It sits somewhere between the two. I prefer a lower 1/3, but again, it's still not that bad. It's not an absolute co-witness. Now, moving on, there's a few things that you just don't want to skimp out on and go cheap on, and an optic is one of those. Definitely, that is one of those. So what I'm looking for in an optic is three things. I want to know it's durable and reliable, it has a long-lasting battery life, and I can see the dot clearly even in bright sun, and the Aimpoint checks all of those boxes for me, and I know I can trust my life with it. But before you go out and spend $450 on this optic, there are some things you need to take into consideration. The number one critique of this is just its size and its weight. It is considerably larger than most other optics on the market. If you look and compare it to the T2, it's at least twice the size and takes up a lot more rail space, which is an issue if you're running a shorter barrel length. Let's say you're running 11.5 and you've got a bunch of accessories attached to it, like a light, which you should, things like that, or if you're running an IR device, that becomes an issue. Or if you intend on adding a magnifier, which is what I intended to do, it's very, very difficult to run a magnifier with the Aimpoint Pro and stick it behind. I've seen it done, but it's not ideal because you push the optic too far out on the rail, which is not what you want to do. So those are some things that you want to consider before you buy this. But other than that, I can't think of any reason why somebody wouldn't want to run the Aimpoint Pro, especially if you're saving $500 on an optic and you're running on a budget. You could spend that money and allocate it towards getting other gear like a plate carrier, plates, a helmet, things like that. And I think the direction of modern firearms culture, most people would be better served going that direction, spending their money on other things, or even ammo, or more importantly, training. Guys, if you find yourself in a position where you're running a budget and you have a whole laundry list of items that you need to buy, I would definitely give the Aimpoint Pro some consideration. Like I said, it's reliable, it has a long-lasting battery life considering the price, and a clear 2MOA dot. Be skeptical of everything you read and hear online. Hell, be skeptical of what I'm saying. These are just my personal opinions. Seek out guys that you can trust, that you know are knowledgeable, and do your own product research before you buy anything. I hope you enjoyed the content. Hopefully you learned something. If you did, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Also hit that like button. It does help us out a lot. And I'll see you on the next one.